Hi, I'm Neil.
Hi, I'm Jeanette.
Welcome
aboard Echo
Echo.
Echo.
Taking photos as well. The joys of the ICW. We're that far away from a channel marker over there. That far away from a channel marker over there. And us, like the boat behind us, are stuck on the putty, us more so than him. And unfortunately we've got about another 3 hours before low tide, and the tide range here is about 8 feet. So it's going to be the wee small hours of the morning before we get out of here, I think, and we're going to be heeled over a lot more than this before we finish. But that's boating. So what do you reckon, Jeanette? We having fun yet?
I can't believe it's the first day out after 3 months and we've run aground badly, and we followed the chart plotter, but as the towboat person just said, the chart's wrong and he picks up people every 2 days here. And actually, come to think of it, I think this was the one that I read about on the ICW that is one of the worst places to get stuck at because of the shoaling, and the chart's wrong.
So what are we going to do now?
So now we just have to watch the boat tip further over, and apparently we're going to be beached. According to the towboat guy, we'll have sand around us, and so it'll be interesting to see the boat beached a bit like they do in the UK when they have their massive tides. And we'll just have to get used to trying to walk on a 45-degree angle or even worse. And of course it means no sleep because we won't be able to lay in the bed, or we brace ourselves like this, and it's windy and it's cold, and
when do you think we'll be floating off?
maybe about 4 AM, and it's not even 6 PM, so yes, it's going to be a long wait, and a long day tomorrow, because then we're going to be tired and we might only be able to do half a day and then have a sleep in the afternoon or something.
So are we having fun yet?
Well, I did want to head off, and I did make the comment about it's lovely to be out on the boat again now, but maybe I might retract my comment. And if we were at the marina now, we'd be having what was that? We'd be having happy hour with our friends.
Well, maybe we need to have happy hour now.
I'm going to go make a drink.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Make a drink. Okay, I think something might be falling.
Sometimes things aren't quite as they seem. If we have a look at this image, everything looks fine. If we come back a little bit, and if we have a look at our hanging baskets, they're on a bit of an angle, and our dishcloths on a bit of an angle, and our stove is on a bit of an angle. And my favourite thing, when I pour water, it doesn't just go vertically down. It goes on an angle. And that's what being aground in the ICW is like. It's a barrel of laughs.
having fun now, Neil? This is my turn to get you at your worst.
Not happy, Jan.
As you can see...
Well, we made a mistake, folks. Yesterday we did an interview with the founders of Active Captain, which is a brilliant piece of navigational software. It does things like identify trouble spots, identify where the charts have got it wrong and your chart plot is wrong. They identify where there's shoaling and there shouldn't be and it's not on the charts. All this wonderful stuff. Great interview, and we've been sold on this product pretty much since we found out about it. Well, today we ignored it.
Well, we didn't ignore it. We just didn't go to open the little shoaling signal.
We didn't pay enough attention to it.
Yes.
And we followed our chart plotter's magenta line, which
For the
looked
ICW.
a little bit odd. Instead of following the channel markers and the salient information on Active Captain. As a result, for the last 4.5 hours, we've been getting increasingly heeled over. We've just had major water ingress through the aft head because we were too stupid to turn off the through hulls.
So we had a siphoning effect back into the boat.
Yep, and because we've got a big flat bottom boat, rather than all the water draining into the bilge and being accessible by the bilge pump, we've had to use trusty little things like this, and this, and this. And we've been bailing now for, what would it be, Jeanette?
At least an hour.
An hour, and we're still going. So,
Yeah. And as you can see, all our books are on the floor. Everything is in a bit of a disarray. Files coming out because a big barge came past, and the wake from the barge just absolutely rocked us. Even though we're aground, it rocked us so much that all the books came flying, and we were sitting opposite them, and fortunately they're not sharp, but books just came flying at us like weapons.
to give you some idea how much of a heel we're on, I'm going to try and stand up like a normal human, and you'll be able to get some sort of perspective. Whoa! Right. This is what vertical looks like. This is not vertical or horizontal. But, yeah, our gunnels are in the water. If we had a look at our cabin port lights, I'm sure we would see mud and maybe the occasional fish. But that's boating.
Back to it.
Back to it.
Yep. And we're hoping that we might have enough water in about 4 hours time so that we can float back up. We're keeping our fingers crossed to be able to float, and then it'll be about midnight, and we're going to have to we're going to actually backtrack to a creek about a mile up behind, back from where we came from, and follow our GPS mark that we made, track mark, because it's so shallow that we don't want to run aground again. And then there's a creek there where you could anchor just off the ICW, so we're going to try and anchor in there in the middle of, well, it'll be about 1 o'clock in the morning or something, hopefully. So because we can't stay where we are, otherwise we'll be hitting the ground again by daylight. So and there is an anchorage just opposite us which we were trying to get into, but there's a big shoaling thing right in front of it, and because we're in the dark and we can't see it, and because the chart plotter is incorrect, we feel a bit nervous, so we'd rather go back on the track that we already made ourselves. And you can probably see the towel hanging on the door, and it's actually leaning right over, which normally that towel hangs down, but it's actually on quite an acute angle. And everything else, pots, pans, fridge, everything has just, I can't even close the washing machine door, it just keeps opening. So yes, and it's actually so healing that it actually makes you feel a little bit, it took us a little while and made me feel a little bit dizzy and a bit woozy, trying to get my brain to focus on this funny angle. Anyway, I better get back and do some more sponging and help Neil.
Ah, people! As we all know, gravity makes things fall straight down. Water falls vertically, Except in this case, let's see if you can watch this. Full sponge, normally you'd squeeze it out here. Wow, what happens if I squeeze it way back here? Not a camera trick, folks, just a big angle of heel.
How are you feeling now, Neil?
Shattered, very tired. We got off the mud last night about 1:30 and went back about a mile on our track and pitch black with a bit of rain, and half the channel markers around here aren't lit, so that was kind of difficult, and our flashlight ran out of batteries. We ended up anchoring smack bang in the middle of the ICW channel, and because this channel sometimes has big barges coming through in the middle of the night, I stayed up most of the night just to make sure that if anything did come through we could get out of the way in a hurry. So now we're going to go back and have another go at this nemesis of a bend and see how we get on. And when we go through there, I'll show you what it looks like on the chart this time. Perhaps you can sympathise with how I made my mistake. I'll show you the chart in a minute. Just zoom in on that a little bit. There we cross over that eye.
As you can see, we're trying to follow the markers instead of the chart. So we're trying to keep the green marker on our port side and the red ones on our starboard side, and as you can see we're going to have to go over the little islands to be able to do this. So we can't, the chart for this area apparently is incorrect, which we've now found out, and you actually have to drive over the land according to the chart to be able to get around the red markers and stay in deeper water. Rudder and everything was in zero water. We basically had beached the back of the boat. The front of the boat was in about 3 feet of water. So you can imagine how the boat was heeled over on its side. It was laying right on its side. One thing I know is that the windows on the port side don't leak, because it was like being in an aquarium. When you look out those windows, you were looking into the muddy ICW water. Okay, we're basically around the obstacle and we're going to be heading to maybe Fernandina Beach, and then we're going to stop for the day because neither of us had much sleep last night. I ended up using my iPad because the chart plotter screen is too bright.